careful.
We are live.
Colonize it, boy. A year off. And your whole generation will not change.
Live.
Alright.
A year. Fuck.
Wait a minute, wow.
What did you do, tap the screen?
No, I did the thingy that makes it whatever.
Close curtains.
Sounds like something else.
And his first instinct
Well, the bathroom is out there. Yeah, the bathroom is down the hall. Check right there.
Yeah.
That looks good. I guess we can leave some light in, so we're not falling asleep.
It does look better on camera.
With the curtains closed.
Back it out. I don't want to see the fight.
Maybe you should try
Alright,
and
so
get
just
the
for the camera, wanna show them the
I know.
show them the screen for this part? We are dealing with the United States, it's not this guy, here we go. United States District Court for the District of Rhode Island, who the Chief Magistrate or Chief Judge is William E. Smith. That's what it looks like. Here's another picture of him. He was born in Idaho. He's the District Court Judge for the District of Rhode Island.
Only one?
Yes, which is right here, Kennedy Plaza. One Exchange Terrace. That's the actual court that Moore's is supposed to go into because of diversity of citizenship. That's where we're supposed to be.
Well, we'll have to make sure our ID's correct, everything's correct.
Basically, their status.
You can't even get in that building
Without an ID.
without.
So, again, just for the camera, we are looking up, where are we? Filing a complaint. So here's the complaint cover sheet that we went over. Then we went over this title right here that's highlighted. I talked about trying to waive a fee because we're paupers. But pauper means poor person or prisoner, which we are not. So we can't use this United States code that they listed because it lists us as something that we're not.
That's part of the trap.
Right, exactly. So we have to literally de-spell their documents so we're not within their jurisdiction. Because again, what we're trying to do is get the United States to hold their people accountable on our land. Because we can't, because they're not our people. Just like if the Chinese people were here, we couldn't bring them to our courts. They would have to have consuls present because they're not our people. Same thing if we were in China and they want to prosecute more, it would have to be consular court because we're not their people. It's the same thing no matter where you are in the country or on the planet. It's the same thing. Just for the camera. Right? So now we're looking at this United States District Court for the District of Rhode Island civil case flow chart, which basically they're showing over the due process, their due process, right? So it starts off by saying the written document that begins a lawsuit in which the plaintiff sets out claims against the defendants. Now, if you look here, it says we're either the petitioner, plaintiff, or moving. Moving just means you're the person who moves the court.
I said movement.
Yeah, M-O-V-A-N-T.
Wow.
Want to look it up in the logo?
Yes, please.
That's back police. Black's Law Dictionary,
I
5th
always
edition
look
for
up
the
words
record.
that I've never heard before. That they
M-O-V.
will throw at us.
A-N-T.
A movement?
Moving. It's probably going to say one who moves.
Not really tight.
That's probably what it's going to say. Are all those papers there a candle? Is that why you're moving them?
I told you she's not allowed to be around fire.
I'm not the one that put
listens to me.
all this next to my candle
No,
station.
no, no, no. When I put them there, the candles weren't lit, so that's not a valid excuse. 'Cause I was here before you. That doesn't change the facts.
I brought a scented thing somewhere.
Huh?
I brought a flameless scented thing. Candle warmer.
What does it say?
When a party makes a motion in a case, that party is called a movement. For example, if a plaintiff in a civil case move for, this is similar, move for, hold on. Summary judgment. The plaintiff is the movement. Yeah. Academic topics, trial process, advocacy, the legal process. Wow, Jamal called it.
What does it say?
One who moves. It says movement.
One who moves.
One who moves. One who makes a motion before a court. The applicant for a rule or order. So yeah, the person who files in.
So continue with the flow chart. The civil case flow chart, which the tort claim is known to be a civil case because no one's physically hurt or damaged. Right? So it says either we're going to pay the court fee or motion to proceed without fees. So under where it says motion to proceed without fees, it says ask the court to allow the plaintiff to file the case without prepaying the court fees. We agreed that we're not going to use the word ask, we're going to use the word entreat, which everyone should have crossed that out.
Yep,
We put entreat on the document. So if the motion is denied, then the plaintiff must pay the court fees in order to proceed, right? Then if the motion is denied, the service of process begins, where the complaint is delivered to the defendants as notification that an action has been filed against them. This is the responsibility of the party who filed the claim, unless the court has granted the motion to proceed without payment of fees, in which case it will be done by the U.S. Marshal Service. So again, where it says right here, with the motion was granted to continue without fees, it says the clerk will forward the summons in Marshal 28-5 form to the plaintiff with instructions to return it. Once completed by the plaintiff, the clerk will sign it, date it, and seal the summons and forward to the U.S. Marshal Service. Right? Here's that summons paper that I printed.
Plaintiff, defendant, court case number, type of process, name of individual, company, corporation, etc. to serve or description of property to seize or command. This is served at address, street, RP, send notice service. Space below for use of U.S. Marshal. Oh, U.S. following.
Yeah.
Okay, so send notice to service copy to request at name.
Where you at?
I'm back up, I went back up right under there, yep. Right under serve at,
Alright, so it says insert, we have to insert the plaintiff's name.
yeah.
By this time, they're gonna give us a case number. So it's gonna be, Gino Raimondo, Peter Kilmartin, all these people, that's where we're gonna list their names.
Yeah.
Then it's gonna say,
Who's
excuse
the
me,
defendant?
as plaintiff, that's where it's gonna say us, the Morris American Consulate or whatever we wanna.
We have to go by like, I guess our own corporate or government, so
Yeah, so we can say-
compensate.
Yeah, so we can say
Each other.
Morris American Consulate. 'cause
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Corporation versus corporation,
Right.
right? So then here it'll say Morris American Consulate versus, State of Rhode Island and Gino Raimondo, Peter Kilmartin, blah, 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 blah. So even up here where it says Morris American Consulate, we can list our names, so for the record, we were the physical people there.
Mhm.
Then it says name of individual, company, corporation, etc. to serve, or description of property to seize or condemn. Then, put Gino Raimondo in the address and all these other people's addresses. Send notice of service copy to request at name and address below. So then we'll put, 23 Acorn Street, so we can get a copy that they've been notified.
Sweet 23 phones.
Then it says special instructions or other information that will assist and extending services include business and alternate addresses, which we have Junior Armando's home address. Telephone numbers and estimated times available for service. This is where we have to get like Patrick T. Burke, all these other people's address if, we gotta do some research. Then signature of attorney or other originator requesting service on behalf of the plaintiff. So it would be, my signature or whoever's signature. Telephone number and date, and then this is for the U.S. Marshals. Down here. Then it says instructions for service of process by U.S. Marshal. Please type or print legibly, ensuring readability of all copies. Do not attach any copies. Submit one complete set of this form and one copy of each writ for each individual, company, corporation, etc. to be served or properly to be seized or condemned. The applicable fees for such service is right here. United States Code, Title 28, 1921. So let's see what that says. United States Marshal fees. This is where we put, again, Title 12, subsection 411.
Oh, we put that there?
Yeah, we paying them nothing. What are we paying them? Or we can do it at this.
No, I thought we was gonna look at what their code actually.
No, yeah, it's right here. It's on the screen right now. It's United States Marshal fees. That's what that is.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right here. Title 28, subsection 1921. Title 28, subsection 1921. United States Marshal's fees. It says that the United States Marshal or Deputy Marshal shall routinely collect and a court may tax as cost fees for the following.
Okay, now hold on, let's think about that for a second.
Yep.
Because, remember now, stratagem is everything.
Mhm.
We were infiltrated, they definitely bought out our marshals.
Yeah, but they have their own marshals.
They have their own marshals.
Yeah.
But we have to interact with him.
Say again?
We have to interact with him?
No. We're interacting with the court.
Yeah.
Then once our motion gets accepted by the court, we fill this out so they can give it to the marshals.
Yeah, and then once given to the marshals, what position does that put the marshals in?
They're serving these people.
Oh, okay, so
They're
they're just
letting them
need to
know
serve.
the warrant's about to sue you. You have to go to court.
Ah,
So it's them making sure that they execute their due process within their system, which is exactly what we need. Because we can't go with these people to court
okay.
because they're not our people.
I was just thinking on the lines of marshals just doing their jobs and not,
Yeah,
I'm saying, like-
exactly. They're doing exactly what we're telling the judge to tell them what to do. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't work for us. They work for. Because remember, the United States is their government. The United States, which is the actual European colonies, that's their government. But don't be confused with the term United States because that's just a metaphor.
No, yeah.
Because Mexico is called the United States of Mexico.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because our states were united before they overthrew our stuff and colonized
Mhm.
everything. So we're still the United States,
Yep.
or they call us the Barbary States.
Yeah.
So that's where Moors argue, well, we're the real United States, but they're not telling you what the distinction is. Right? So they show you the big map of Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah.
Everything west of that was
Yeah.
our states. So again, this is us telling the magistrate to tell the marshals to put these people on notice to see us in court. You see how we're getting them to work for us, which is exactly what Morris keeps saying, the Europeans supposed to do what we say? We have to go through the proper process.
That's crazy.
Just like if we were gonna go to China, we have to do the same thing. It's not we're submitting to be under their anything. This is their process. You
This is
understand?
crazy when you did that. It's like
What?
every movie or video they ever like programmed us with, like it just popped up in my head when you said it. We have to tell the magistrate to tell this person, to
Yeah.
tell that, to tell uncle, to tell
Yes.
that, and it has to go that way.
Yes,
What
because we can't say, hey, Marshall, go arrest that
No,
person.
no.
They don't work for us.
Mhm.
They work for their people.
But there's an order too, so
Yeah, that's what the three branches of government are
know
for.
their positions and what.
It's just more than going about it the wrong way. Right, so we're telling their magistrates to tell their marshals to arrest these people and come see us in court.
We've been telling the gang leaders to tell the pastors,
Yeah.
to tell their moms, to tell the niggas up the road.
Yeah, to tell the cat and tell the dog what to do.
Hey, yo, stop spiking the drugs.
Right, so, the application fees for such services, blah, 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 establishes a fee for service of process by the U.S. Marshals may be required prior to said service. So, write this down on this piece of paper. Put in parentheses, we do not have to pay any service fee because of Title 12, subsection 411.
Repeat.
We do not have to pay any service fee because of Title 12, subsection 411. Which, since they're referencing the United States codes, we're gonna reference the same thing to combat what they're saying,
Yeah,
you know, so we don't have to do anything.
right.
Which then when you read that code, it'll say the obligations of the Federal Reserve note belongs to who? The United States.
Mhm.
So go to the United States Treasury if you want, you know,
Exactly,
payment.
yeah.
Title 12, section 411.
Yes. And or UCC, I'm pretty sure it's 3-107.
Instrument
Yep.
payable in foreign money.
UCC 3-107. And UCC 3-603.
What was the first one?
UCC 3-107.
And hold on, there's a list of them. One second.
I'm trying to remember.
See if I remember.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea. Alright, where is? Ritz, no. You know where, remember where I put the not tort, trust law 102 stuff? Classes maybe?
Yes.
Nope. Say that again?
Let
No, I'm
me
talking to
see.
you.
I think I might have.
Do this real quick.
Gosh,
Boom.
I've-
One moment while I find this.
Type into your search.
True, you're absolutely right.
Found.
Alright, I got it. Da-da-da. UCC 1-103. Which is important to know that right here it says the Uniform Commercial Codes are simply used to simplify, clarify, and modernize the law governing commercial contracts and to permit the continued expansion of commercial practices through custom usage and agreement of the parties and to make uniform the law amongst various jurisdictions. That's all it's used for, meaning you don't have to use it, right? Then of course, UCC 1-301, which deals with territorial applicability and parties' powers to choose applicable law. Meaning we have the right to choose which laws apply to these contracts. So whereas they say we have to give them a filing fee, we say no, we don't because of Title 12, subsection 411, which is part of their rules. So write that down, UCC 1-301. Write down, and UCC 1-308, of course, and UCC 3-603. 3-502. And UCC 1-307. Right, so that's our response to why we don't have to pay any filing crap.
Now,
Yes.
when we go to implement these UCCs, is it good to have it out written so they can read, or just
Yeah,
have
so,
the
so
UCC
you see
code
where it says,
section?
so where it says, you know, motion to proceed without fees?
Yeah,
In that motion, we're gonna write out, this is why we don't have to,
okay.
because of UCC this, UCC that, whatever, boom, 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 boom. Right, and House Resolution 5404, House Resolution 192, the definition of money, Article 1, Section 8, Article 1, Section 10. That's where we say, this is why we're not paying crap, because there's nothing to pay in, right? Alright, then it says, for service of any process upon an officer or agent of the United States government, which we don't have to deal with that, because we're not part of the United States, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this has nothing to do with us besides that. So then continuing, once the request or motion to proceed without payment is accepted or denied, and then we pay the payment, or, you know, if it's accepted, then we proceed forward, then our complaint gets referred to the magistrate. Then it says the district judge may refer pretrial motions, Rule 16 conferences, and orders resulting from these referrals to the magistrate judge. Right? Then it says answer or entry of default. The defendant's response to a complaint under the federal rules, most defendants have 21 days to file an answer. The U.S. government has 60 days. Once all answers are filed, the clerk will schedule a Rule 16 conference before the district or magistrate judge. Right? Then, of course, if they default, when a party fails to answer or otherwise respond to a complaint, the clerk may enter a default upon the motion of another party. Meaning, after 21 days and Gino Raimondo and the gang don't respond, then we have to put in a motion to default. Tracking? Then, default judgment, if the defaulting party fails to cure the default after proper notice, the plaintiff may motion the court for a judgment to be entered awarding the plaintiff the relief sought in the complaint. Meaning we say, okay, since they failed to default, since they defaulted, we're demanding as settlement that they pay $25,000 each person.
Well,
And it
can
has-
we go for more than that?
Of course.
Okay.
But then if we ask for more, then the Attorney General has to get involved, and then there's another process.
Well, we're gonna have to, somebody's gonna have to get involved.
But I'm saying, if we just ask for 25,000 per person, then we're still getting 25,000 per person.
Yeah, but 25, I mean, let's say the real violation is over $1 million.
Yeah.
And damages
So let's
and
be
all types-
realistic. Let's be
No,
realistic.
I'm being
I
realistic.
know, let's be realistic and talk about
I am.
how long this is gonna take.
That's what
A
I'm
lot of
saying.
us have jobs, a lot of us has families.
Yeah, but we're not gonna be here, like, we're not gonna be in the court every day trying to win this settlement. You know, it's just like, all right, you violated us, this is what we're asking for.
Yeah.
And that's it, go about our business,
All
because
right, but
whichever
now-
way, we gotta wait, even
I'm
if we
agreeing
put
with you.
25,000, we gotta wait
I'm agreeing,
anyway.
but the more we ask for, the more process and the more time that we have to waste going through this. If you get a quick 25,000 per person, so like Gino Raimondo, right, the so-called governor, Peter Kilmartin, the so-called attorney, Nellie Gorbea, the so-called Secretary of State, the Lieutenant Governor, the Treasurer, and all the municipal police agents, right, let's say that's 10 people, 10 people have to pay us 25,000. Each, how much is that? What's 25,000 times 10?
Quarter mil.
There you go, a million. You know what I'm saying? So it still equals out, I mean, that's a million notes, that's a lot of notes.
So basically, anyone that's
Anyone that is involved.
anyone that's messing with the bullshit scheme.
Yeah, so
They-
let's say in this situation,
Mhm.
there were about 9 cars there, right?
Yeah.
Each single person there, which we have the car numbers.
Yeah.
So what we gotta do, once we go to court, we'll tell the judge, okay, speak to the chief of police of Rhode Island State Police and see who was in car, this, and this, because I have the license plates.
Mhm.
Who was in this car on this date, this license plate? okay, bring them forward. And then we identify, yep, he was there, because we've seen all these people's faces.
Mhm.
So they also have to pay. Then all the people that processed you, they have to pay.
Yeah.
Then the so-called the magistrate that threatened you, he has to pay. And then Gino Raimondo and all these other people, because we've been put them on notice that we're here.
And
See what I'm
then
saying?
you start, like, pressing forward.
So if they answer, once they've been served by the marshals and they answer, then it goes into scheduling orders, right? If the court orders, the parties must participate in a preliminary pretrial conference to discuss the scheduling of the case, including discovery, any agreements between the parties, and any other matters needed to promote the just and speedy resolution of the lawsuit, meaning they can just give us settlement before we even go to trial.
Okay. After they take a look at it and see, okay, yeah,
Exactly.
they
Like if-
violated.
Like, the courts will say, okay, since Gino Raimondo and the gang responded, then they'll send, most likely the Attorney General to come represent them, and we'll speak with the Attorney General, okay, just give us, instead of $1 million, give us 100,000.
Mhm.
Oh, you want that? All right, well, okay, we're going to court now. Because, remember, now they're being exposed. So
Yeah,
they also have to deal with how much they want to be exposed.
yeah,
Because if we take them to court and they just, all right, let's just shut them up real quick so there's not more things on the record,
yeah.
then we can accept that. And then what can we do with that fiat? Get housing for our people. Get jobs for our people. So either way, we win. Yes.
Build a court with a prison at the bottom, so then we can start doing things in our venue.
So we start arresting them.
That'd be the first.
Yeah,
thing I
that's
would
what's
do.
up.
Because
That's what I
everybody
wanna
wants
do
to
too.
like
First
go
goal
take their
would
money
be
and
to
go
set
get a
up a
house
court.
and a car.
Yeah.
What we really need is our own building to do
Mhm.
our own administration.
And couldn't we technically, because all they do is lease our ancient buildings, our historical buildings.
Yeah.
So wouldn't we have entitlement to?
Yeah, we're
We
entitled to do all these things, but again, we have to think about how many people do we actually have?
And what resources are in our possession.
Within this body.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, within this
You're
body,
right,
we can, let's say, get this building.
But then it's how much of us are even serious.
Exactly. Because then if they try to do something to the building, how many of us are gonna actually show up in court
Yeah.
and say, no, we own title to this? And then, then they're gonna try to drag out this court process, and then few people might start showing up to court until there's only 3 of us in there, you know what I mean? So all of these things are factors that we have to consider, that a lot of members don't consider. They just think, well, let's just do this. You know what I mean? Right, so, this is before you even go to court, we have to know the process, know what summary judgment is, we have to know how to respond. So if we didn't know that the defendants have 21 days to respond, and then after those 21 days, we don't file for a default judgment, then we failed.
Mm.
Then we're not in honor.
They got the last word.
Yeah. Then we both defaulted, and then the courts don't have to move.
This is like Ready Player One, Two.
Yeah, basically we're the puppet master of the judge. And the judge has to do with according to their laws, what he has to do. But other than that, we get to say, all right, do this. Since they failed to do that, do this. Everything that they do to
Literally what
us-
he's supposed to be there too. When you read his,
Right?
literally the judge, that's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, that's it.
When you read, he's supposed to sit there and
Yep.
feed the puppet to either sides.
Mm-hmm.
But they play favoritism.
Yeah. But if there's, let's say, 100 of us in that courtroom, they can't do that.
Right.
Especially if we know where they live, because we did research, prior to us going there. And then we also send these notices to their houses, so that because the prophet said, these Europeans aren't gonna stop until they see death in the face.
Yeah. It's not-
Us being unified and us knowing where they live, to me, that sounds like death in the face.
Yeah.
Right. It'll translate.
There's
to
somewhere
that.
home address.
Because we have to approach with what? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If our freedom is being violated,
He probably ran out of
justice
people.
must take its course.
He's gonna
Yeah,
have
it had
shotgun.
to have been more shotgun, slugs.
He
something.
probably put love, truth, peace, and peace, justice, shotgun. Oh, the ink ran out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We get to determine
What
what is
justice
invoking
is.
justice in our land, because this is our land.
And another thing too is,
And in order for justice to be served, we have to give them due process too.
We do.
Yeah. What do you mean?
yeah, we gotta give them, we gotta give
Oh,
them
it's a good thing you said that.
Then we
We
will
can't
be in
just-
violation,
Yeah,
that's
what
why
gonna be a dictatorship?
everybody
It's
wants
good
to
thing
go
you said
fight
that
for
because
it.
I was
And that's another thing
Off
too.
with his head.
due process for who? The oppressor?
Dictator.
Thank God for the
Can we
good
get
ones.
into like
Me? You don't get a
actually
due process of
having
tax.
them pay us taxes for being on our land?
Eventually, yes.
Cause that's what I wanna tax them, I wanna send them a notice
Yes,
saying,
but
look,
you
I'm
need-
taxing you.
But you need to understand how us doing one thing as a group successfully leads up to that. Like us doing a tort claim can lead up to that, because now we know more than what we knew before.
Right.
So if we're confident enough to win in court, which is gonna get notoriety amongst all the Moors, like, oh, these Moors got how much? Even that alone, despite all the competent, and we handle this and actually study, they're not gonna look into that. They're gonna look into how much you get. So that alone is gonna get people to.
Yeah, I ain't even worried about that. I just wanna crush him and
Yeah,
then kick him out.
But this, alright, so imagine, right? If we had Gina Ramon up for $25,000, you think she makes, I mean, she probably makes that much money. But now we're taking it away from her children,
Yeah,
which is good for us.
They got enough that they can survive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
25,000 to them is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, but,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but we have to also focus on the individual that we're dealing with. Can, right,
but
the
these-
policy enforcer, hold on, the policy enforcer that put his hands on you think he makes enough money to pay 25,000?
No, but
So
right.
that's how we're crushing them, you can't dismiss them. That's exactly how we're crushing them.
Let's get it correct. The policy enforcers get paid more than 25,000.
They get around 44,000 a year,
So
that's not a lot of money.
and the only reason they're getting that amount is because again they print the money.
Yeah, but
They
I know,
can
but
dictate
listen,
all this. This is my thing, right? Their violation, it goes beyond the fiat.
yes, it does.
It really does. It goes beyond
It
the
does,
fiat,
I know.
right? I wanna articulate a point where I want them to know, like, listen, I need you to recognize, cause I recognize this is my forefathers and foremothers' land.
Yep.
And right now, you're an unwelcome guest.
Yep.
This is from the future generation now.
Yes.
The way you going about it is cool. I dig it. It's paperwork, but I get it because that's the language of the Caucasoids. I get it.
It's not their language.
No, when I say language, it's the only thing they respond to because it goes into
Yeah, but
records
that's
and
the
this,
only
that,
thing
and
that
third.
any government responds to,
Any
not just
government,
Europeans.
right? But any government respond to it on their own sovereign soil.
They're
That's
not
how they
on their
respond
own
to it.
sovereign soil.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
But they're still a sovereign body.
yeah, but they could be a sovereign body somewhere else.
Yeah, but our ancestors allowed them to be here.
Yeah, but that's our ancestors, but now our ancestors ain't here no more.
I know,
They're
we're
with
here.
us,
Yeah.
they're through us. So now, let's look at it like this. My ancestors had hopes that these was decent individuals, and
Yep.
then you can come here, you can do your own thing,
Yep.
right? After a certain amount of time, now I've seen that these individuals are not all as they cracked up to be.
Yep.
Now the future's like, you know what? I don't want them here.
Yes.
What
Hold on,
business
hold
can
on,
we do
wait.
with them?
You're missing a bunch of steps, right? Up to the point where you said, all right, these people aren't cracked up to what they're supposed to be, right?
Right.
So what did we do about it?
Yeah, I'm saying, well, what do we do about it? Like, are we gonna go to their courts and tell them, like, are we gonna get to a point where we go to their courts and say, hey, get out of here, it's time for y'all to go?
All right,
You know? Like, are we gonna get to that point?
Listen.
No.
if there's no record, no actual record,
Mhm.
just people saying stuff, hearsay,
Yeah.
which is what?
It's hearsay.
It's inadmissible,
Yeah,
right?
inadmissible,
So
yeah.
people are saying Europeans are doing this, Europeans are doing that. Show me one court record where someone has said this.
Say what?
That's
That,
what we're complaining about.
what we're
Show me
complaining
one
about?
record where Moore has took a European to court and tried to hold him accountable. Competently. Show me that record. Because in order for our prosperity to say what you said,
Mhm.
right, our prosperity to say, okay,
Mhm.
you've been here for this long, you've been violating, go home.
Mhm.
That's to be a record where we actually try to administrate and hold them accountable first.
So is there, okay, so since obviously we was intelligent enough to write all these contracts and these treaties and this, that, and the third.
were intelligent enough.
We
Now
were.
most of our people
So
can't
you
read.
mean to tell me we don't have a contingency plan when they violate these
This
treaties?
is, but this is it.
So you mean to tell me in this whole 100+ years, nobody did this? You telling me nobody put in the paperwork to get them off the land?
I've checked records, right,
Yeah.
I'll show you, find law, we'll do this right now, look.
Cause that's
Hold on.
crazy to me.
All right, I'm answering your question.
No more?
I'm
put in
gonna
the
answer your
paperwork?
question with proof, not just me saying, well, this is what it is, right? Findlaw.caselaw.com. Caselaw.findlaw.com. Control search,
Mhm.
more-ish. same place that we're trying to go right now.
Okay.
This is evidence of Moore's going there, right? Let's read their arguments. Let's see if they're competent. Right? This is United States Court of Appeals, 7th Circuit, John Jones Bay, plaintiff/appellant versus State of Indiana, et al., which means and others who were defendants. Right? This is 2017. February 3rd, 2017.
That's like
Yes,
yesterday.
yeah.
Right, just the other day.
No, it's there, it's good. Before Posner, blah, 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 the circuit judges, John Jones Bay, who describes himself as an Aboriginal Indigenous Moorish American, filed in the district court what he labeled a writ of memorandus, seeking to enjoin state and county officials from taxing real estate that he owns in Marion County, Indiana. He also asked the defendant officials to be ordered to refund the taxes that he paid and to compensate him for their alleged wrongs. He asked the district court to award him $11.5 billion. The court refused and granted the defendant's motion to dismiss, precipitating this appeal. Bay says he's a sovereign citizen.
See, that's what he's
I wanted to,
You
that was
see
my,
what I'm saying?
that was
Right
my
there,
summary
that's
for
fucked it up.
Today's
You
class.
see what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
So this is what we're dealing with.
Okay,
So wait, let me stop you. You're saying we are competent. When you
I'm
say
saying-
we're competent, you're not speaking for everyone else.
no, but that's what I'm trying to say, like, first of all, that's just one individual having an issue, right? I get
I
that.
can keep showing you more.
No, but are these groups, or these just one individuals going
Most of the time
one-on-one?
it's individuals.
Okay, so we're not going through that formula.
Exactly.
So we have this many great minds in
Yeah.
here working together to build
Exactly,
something.
exactly.
So
There's a case with a group too, and then the group
Which
only,
one?
what was the case with the group?
Right.
Oh, they weren't they were by blood Moors,
Yeah,
but they never claimed Moors.
but
were.
only one of
Only
them,
one did.
only
and-
one of them.
But he
in the
didn't
group,
state what his nationality was.
Right.
He was competent.
That was Peoples versus City of Detroit. He never said what he actually was.
Right.
He just made the claim that the Europeans were discriminating against him because of his national origin.
Versus
He didn't
race.
say what his national origin was. But that case does prove that when you make a competent claim like that, they proceed forward. This Moore clearly didn't make a competent claim because he
Yeah,
called
that
himself
made
a sovereign citizen.
yeah, that made no sense.
And then you'll see more BS. And then you'll even see where the Moore signs Temple of America from so-called District of Columbia, the so-called head, which is what they're claiming. They say that, right here, it says MST of A focus on, let me see. When you read more, you'll see where the MST of A throw our people under the bus and say we don't do civics and stuff like that in these records. Alright, it says right here, because it explains some brief history about the Moore Science Temple of America, but it's from a dirty Moore perspective. Even right here, it talks about the Moors Order of the Round Table, which is Shaw Street Bay, right?
It talks about it in that case?
Yeah, right here, it's highlighted. Moors Order of the Round
Crazy.
Table. These people have been
Oh, it
studying
was
us.
2017, that's
Right,
right.
hold on, let me just read the whole thing.
Damn.
Actually, right here. The MST of A home office located in Washington, D.C. Where did the prophet say the home office was located?
Chicago.
3140 Indiana Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, Cook County. Is that what that says? No, so they're dealing with dirty Moors, right? Or incompetent Moors, right? Because any competent Moor should have said, no, that's not where it is.
Yeah.
Then these people had issued a statement clarifying the organization is neither a sovereign citizen movement nor a tax protester movement, and that it was not founded for its members to become anarchists or conspiracy theorists. Moore Science Temple of America statement on radical and subservient fringe groups, July 15, 2011. They put a link to that dirty website. Alright? A MSTA temple in Georgia denounces sovereign citizenship propaganda as completely asinine and asked that Moors not adopt the ideals of these European groups who at their core hate Moors' very existence. And then it goes into how these people are still throwing our people under the bus because they're dirty. So you ask for, have Moors take these people to court? Yes, incompetently, and then they've been thrown under the bus by somebody else.
What about the competent ones?
I haven't read any Incompetent cases, you gotta do your own research. So feel free to read all of these, it's 3 pages, and some of these are long.
Yes.
But from what I got from, like 5 or 6 that I've read, incompetent.
And that's fine law, right, .com?
Yes. It is caselaw.finelaw.com. 11.5. It was incompetent.
Now, would it been a different story if he said a
Silver.
citizen of his own national
You could,
government?
yeah.
You have to be specific.
A sovereign citizen.
Right.
Then where it says fine law, just put in Moorish, and it'll show you all cases where the word Moorish is in it.
Okay.
Question,
Yes.
can they be a sovereign citizen?
No, sovereignty only exists within the nationals. As a group, not as an individual. Like, I'm not a sovereign. We are sovereign.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that alone tells you they're incompetent. Just like if we say, you know, you're a different race than I am. Well, we're both humans. Human is the race, so clearly you're incompetent. That's why, and I'll just go over this again, since we're on the topic of tort claims and going to court.
Look, as an individual, you can't say that as the individual, all the Moors, they are now,
As an individual, you are a divine being,
so
which
you
makes you
can't,
sovereign.
so you can't impose your rights on anyone else
Exactly.
until the whole collective has to make
Exactly.
or the elected
I don't think in law, that applies in law.
What, sovereignty?
Yeah.
It only exists with the nation itself.
Yes, no, I'm saying court, when they say they're
Oh,
sovereign.
sovereign citizen, yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, you
It
can't
doesn't
say
exist in
that.
law, so it's not applied, doesn't apply.
But when you're sovereign, it don't apply. The courts, do they apply or they don't when you're sovereign?
Sovereignty?
Yeah.
Yes, sovereignty exists with the nation only. When you read Act of State Doctrine, you'll see that. It says every sovereign state, meaning every sovereign nation, is gonna recognize the sovereignty of every other sovereign state, meaning nation. So, just like the prophet said, under your free national name, other nations recognize you.
Yeah.
That's what that is. He said that in 1913. Act of State Doctrine was recent, 1947. Right? Well, that's not really recent, but after the prophet.
So how much, I gotta look at how much sovereign states is going on.
So, this is where 11 firefighters were laid off by the city of Detroit. Blah, 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 read this on your own. On January 26, 2017, so is this ancient law? Nope, this is modern, isn't it? And when did Noble Dwelly talk about the issue of nationality? 1913, and this is 2017, and what are they talking about? Issue of nationality. Nationality determines your what? Your standing out law, doesn't it? Great. So, it said on January 26, 2017, which is not ancient, the district court granted summary judgment to both defendants on plaintiff's claims, but denied the DFA's motion for attorney fees and costs, which the court construed as a request for sanctions under Rule 11. As to the city, the district court held that only one plaintiff's claims could be processed for failure to properly exhaust administrative remedies.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But that it failed on the merits regardless. In its first finding, the district court contended with almost no arguments from the plaintiffs, meaning the plaintiffs failed to prove their argument, which in law what? The accuser what? Bears the burden of proof. So again, if these people default and we don't respond, we fail, right? The city, who was the defendants in this situation, argued that only one plaintiff, who was Rivera, was entitled to bring Title 7 claims, because only he had timely filed his EEOC charge and received a right to sue later. Meaning, this is because they were all claiming to be black, so they have to have permission to sue anything, right? The plaintiffs did not respond to this argument, meaning they didn't rebut anything, meaning they're incompetent, right? The district court reviewed the record and concluded that only Rivera had properly exhausted his administrative remedies before bringing this Title VII claim. The city next argued that single filing rule should not be applied to allow the other plaintiffs who have not exhausted their administrative remedies to piggyback on Rivera's claim because Rivera's alleged discrimination based on national origin, not race.
And this is that case that I was talking about.
People versus City of Detroit 344.
Can we send this to the
So
council?
this is a
It
competent
has.
case for only one individual, more or less.
Oh, what they're saying is only one person, right,
Was competent.
declared what their status was. Only one person made a competent argument, yes. Only one person in this situation is competent. That's what they're saying. They're throwing a bunch of legalese to confuse people because most people don't even know how to read.
Right,
That's what they're saying.
okay.
And the facts of his claim were distinguishable from the other plaintiffs. Plaintiff's response to the argument consisted of one word. Does the single filer rule on the Title VII apply to that each plaintiff demonstrate that he is entitled to bring suit under Title VII? Defendant, which was the city, says no. The plaintiff says yes. Is that a valid argument? Just saying yes with no facts to support your claim, is that a valid argument?
I don't know.
Yes.
In this article, their complaints was.
This isn't an article, this is case law.
Yeah, it was.
This is from an actual case.
Yes, when I read it, they were talking about race versus nationality.
Yeah.
And then there were.
Yeah, this is gonna expound on it more,
Yeah.
right? It says plaintiffs allege that they were laid off because of, at the same time because of their race or national origin discrimination. But as is clear, the plaintiffs do not allege the exact same claims. Plaintiff Rivera alleges national origin discrimination, and the remaining plaintiffs allege race discrimination. So race and nationality is not the same thing, because there's only one race and it's human. That human race is identified by national origins, not black race, white race, Spanish race, brown race, rice race.
The corporate race.
That don't exist, right? Therefore, the question is whether national origin and race discrimination are substantially related, right? If so, the plaintiff should be able to piggyback on Rivera's timely filed charge under the single filing rule, right? Which allows both untimely and never filed claims to be joined, which is a class action suit. That's what that is, class action suit, right? The plaintiffs, which is their responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Cites no case law, nor do they argue that discrimination claims for national origin are substantially similar to those of racial discrimination claims of a distinct group. So they didn't even try to say that it's the same, which means what? They're incompetent. Right? While there may be an overlap between the concepts, intangible, I mean, it ain't real. The concept of race and national origin themselves see these case laws, which these people cite facts, right? There is no case law to support the application of a single rule between two distinct groups. Therefore, we find that the remaining plaintiffs are unable to piggyback off of Rivera's charge. The city was placed on notice that Rivera and others similarly situated were alleging discrimination in the layoff process, but only claims involving national origin. Blah, 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 blah. Only Rivera was allowed to sue.
And it sounds
Which is,
like.
well, the prophet said what? In Acts, I think it was 4 or 6 or something like that? With us, all members must what? Proclaim their nationality. That's why. Because if you're not competent, and like you do what the prophet said, if you do nothing else to clear your nationality, and I'm competent, right, and I'm going to court, and you say, hold on, that applies to me. I was like, oh, you're one too, come here.
Yeah.
Piggyback.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's that easy.
Just can't even do that correctly.
And then we can ask for the 11.5 billion.
It makes sense. All right.
At that point, fuck 11, we're going,
We have-
we're going to the
We have
stars.
too many
We're going to the
people
man.
in disunity, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
there's no unity.
Cause we're making this argument that, well, when can we just get to action? We still got a bunch of us that are calling themselves black. So we need everyone to.
Yeah,
We
we need a kindergarten class to
No.
really articulate.
Taj is already doing that.
That's what I'm
Taj is
saying.
already
You know how
doing
many
that.
teachers we have?
Taj gives third grade etymology classes day in and day out on YouTube. I'm tired of it.
You know what we're missing?
We need it point in
More
that direction.
honestly studying what
That's
the
it.
teachers are bringing forward.
Like actually doing what Taj said. So when I read now, I need a bigger table. Cause I gotta keep all these goddamn big ass books on the table. So I got one
hold
little
on.
ass book that's this big and ask Lauren, man. I mean, one little ass book and her mother is.
Maybe no one's here. It's just
like,
during the
I got
day.
a
It's probably at
whole
work.
table too. You have my house, you see the whole table gone. Cause I have all these books out to read. So I'm in one little book like, okay, I don't even understand that word.
It's nice and toasty in here now.
That's how it gets. You got other ones who go into a pamphlet, go into the little one-on-one and say, well.
This is all we need to know.
This, all right, my name is King Farrell L. First,
I'll leave.
Listen here, Morris. If you ain't do, and they never ever even been in front of a policy enforcement. That's another thing. You can study all this a day, every day. You can study this day in and day out until you got it to the T. When you step in front of the actual person, it's a different vibration. It ain't like, the books ain't gonna be there to throw it, it's different. You have to have experience as the best teacher.
Yep.
That's why I don't, some of this stuff it leads.
So now, what we're about to gain is all the experience.
I was gonna actually ask you if you wanted to go and sit in on some cases, right? On
I
Friday.
would love to do that, yo, I do that.
Can we
Like, I
sit
be in
out
court.
and just
Yeah, so-
represent random people?
No, hell no.
Why not?
Because in order for us to help anyone, they have to be nationals.
Yeah.
No, they can't do that.
No, but they can't give us power though? They can't say, hey, you know what, I
No,
wanna give you
no,
power.
Why,
listen, listen,
why
hold
do you
on,
have
stop,
to
stop,
be
stop.
so not your people?
Listen. If you're my subject, meaning I own you, right? You can't then give someone else permission to do something because I own you.
Okay, but they're not going in there with that mindset as if.
Yeah,
I
they're
own
going in as
They're going in
subjects.
like, if I go into the clerk's office and I say, hey, can I get a power of attorney, application? Thank you.
And then,
The
Hey,
person
Mo,
running
what's
the
your
show
name
is
again?
not gonna let it happen.
Okay, there you go, I want to give
no,
power
you're
of
right,
attorney to
but,
him.
yes. But in order to prove that this person actually has standing in law, we have to have paperwork, prove that. Because what they can
Who,
prove,
you or them, the
Us.
person hiring you?
as the attorney that you just gave me power of attorney, right?
Yeah.
I have to have proof that you're a free man. Because if they have proof, if they have proof that your name is Smith, Jones, and Johnson, you got a social security number, here's where you work, here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that, and then that person's like, yeah, that's me. Then you just gave
No,
us
but
power of attorney.
No, but you can school them and say, hey, when they ask you all these questions.
Yeah,
this is
but-
what you
But
tell them.
how does a slave say, no, I want him, the master's gonna say, no, get your slave ass
And
back here.
then that person's gonna automatically, because remember, your status is your mind.
That's not the.
It's not you just being a Moor by blood. That's why the prophet said, just because you were born, that don't make you a citizen.
Mhm,
You have to actually know what you're doing. You have to actually know civics. What is a citizen?
mhm.
You have to know what that is. How do you become a citizen? You have to know what that is. Why is it that I have to claim my nationality? You have to know what that is. How does that affect me in law? You have to know what that is, because it's your competence.
Right, right.
It's all in here, not someone else. It's all in here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because again, like if most Moors, right, they ask for help and they say, oh, the magistrate put a warrant out for me, and I'm like, is it in the free national name or the strong name? They say, oh, it's in the strong name. So what are you worried about it for? Because that's not you.
Right.
The only way for them to arrest you is to have something on your person that says that name
Right.
with your face on it. Then they can do that. But if you don't, what are you worried about?
Right.
So that
Yeah.
that when Moors say that, I know their mindset's not clear. 'Cause I don't care if they put Jamal Table Dulabay in caps and put a warrant out for that. That's not me.
Right, exactly.
And then again, you still have jurisdiction. So what am I fearing about and sweating and I
Yeah.
gotta file these documents? No, one document.
Yeah, cause I got a warrant on my, known to Gary, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because it's not you.
I walk into their buildings like conducting business, so it's, you're right, it is a
See?
mindset, it is.
And you don't need no damn attorney.
No.
See? The only reason why we have counselors, right?
They're
C-O-N-S-U, or S-U-L-A-R, is so one person is speaking and not 1,000.
Right.
That's it. That's literally it. You know what I'm saying? It's not that the counselor knows more than everyone. That's not supposed to be the case. Everyone's supposed to know what's going on.
Alright.
That's a citizen's duty. You know what I'm saying? So continuing, right? Now that we got that out the way about how, you know, you can't tell, your question was, you know, all these years going by, no more have taken these people to court? Let's be honest. The Prophet passed away in 1929. That's about 105 years ago, right? If we think about that time period, they didn't really have cell phones like that, or emails like that, or TV like that. So it's not like they were on YouTube getting this information from Tashreeq Bey himself, and he's still alive. They can be inspired and learn this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This was happening slow. So we're lucky right now. We got YouTube, and we don't got to go travel the country to find Taj and figure out where to get the real information. We got it easy.
Yeah.
So of course no one's done that within 105 years, especially after the sellout. Because remember we went to Chicago?
Yeah.
And we was right in front of Unity Hall. And what did the locals tell us? After the Prophet died, there were riots. People were dying. The sellout was real. It was war.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So we have to keep that in mind. Like, some people weren't fit to do this. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just Moors weren't doing nothing. Nah, people were being shot. They raided the Prophet's house and took all his stuff out of his house, threw it on the street. They were threatening Emil Neal's wife. They were threatening to kill people. You know, our people.
And
Not just Europeans, dirty Moors were doing this.
yes, I was just
Working
about
with
to
policy
say that.
forces. You know what I'm saying?
I was just
That's
about
why
to
we're
say
so far behind.
Because that's what causes a little confusion when we hear these stories. We think that it'll be a bunch of Europeans there.
No,
running.
no,
That
no.
We
wasn't
need to
the
put
case.
their names on blast. Whoever was there and did anything, those are like individuals we need to make an example of in this
No, this-
generation.
Yeah, but they have successors.
Yeah, that family.
This is what we do. We don't condemn the glass of water, we set up the clean one. How do we do that, Jamal? We sue the Europeans, we get settlement, proof that it works.
That's it.
That's it.
Move on.
And move on.
And that's it. And then, we don't gotta worry about what these dirty Moors did with the Prophet's finance. Okay, we just got $1 million settlement. All right, we're gonna buy the Prophet's building now, Unity Hall, so now that's our headquarters again.
Oh my God.
And then we're gonna say, all right, Moors, we're gonna have an election. Who you want to elect to the Supreme Grand Council? And Moors have their election. And we got the building for these people. And now we can continue where the Prophet left off. Whoever we elect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how we can, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be that easy,
Put that.
but that's a picture.
Yeah, that's it.
As long as we all got that picture in mind, we
It
can paint
makes sense. It's a goal that at least we could work towards because, I mean, I really don't want to be in court dealing with these people.
No,
I don't
now
want to be in
listen.
front of the kids.
Now
I
listen,
don't
all
want-
we have to do is one time.
Yeah, that's it.
One time, then we get settlement, that's called res judicata. That means anytime any other Moor goes to court, they can reference Moorish American Consulate versus the state of Rhode Island.
And that's
Boom.
Yeah, we're setting the
Competence.
what do you call it?
On the record.
Yeah, and
I'll give him a rocket sweat on him.
Zoom in real quick.
Nah, don't-
Wow, that's wow, dude. I got the same one right here.
Wakala.
He said, oh God, he giving a class like this. Yeah, so you know.
All right.
That's how we slept last
I'm
night.
getting real toasty in here. Got Kim burning.
Sweat and talk about tort claim.
So where were we?
We
We were at trial. Now we were at
we're down to
Ooh.
scheduling orders. That's what
Scheduling
we stopped.
orders,
We
yeah.
left off. Discovery.
so this is the preliminary stuff. Yeah. Then discovery.
Alright. we
So
need to
this
go.
is where we put, as an example, this document over here, right? Because in order for us to bring them to court for a tort claim, they have to have violated some contractual obligation, right? What is that contractual obligation? There's two of them.
Nationality,
No, the contractual obligation.
contract, the treaty,
Yes, what else?
the constitution.
Exactly.
What
So,
about the Confederation?
that applies to it.
Okay.
So, within that, right, over time, Moors have been inactive, so they've been like, well, we didn't know that there was a Moorish American consulate, we didn't know we had to do this, we didn't know we had to do that, right? That can be the argument, correct? And what would we bring as proof? It's right here. What is this, Jamal? Well, this is the notice of existence, so this is what we bring in court as proof that we told them we were here, we told them the history, we told them who we were, and we told them their obligations, right? This is a certified mail, the receipt, right, that I paid for. Feel free to look at it. Keep all the documents together, please.
Wait, mine's.
So there's a case.
So this is us,
The
this
case
is us, building evidence
Yeah.
to substantiate our claims, which these other people failed to do.
How long does it take to get those back in the mail?
It depends on how long it takes for the,
Then to receive it?
for them to receive it, and then for the person to bring it back.
It's probably 25.
All right, so these are two notices that, we put Gina Raimondo. This was,
She just got reelected, huh?
yeah, she did, she just won so-called election for governor again.
Wow.
This was July. Oh, this is the cover letter. This is the first notice. Remember we all signed this? This is the first notice with a cover letter to support her executive order on diversity. Right. This is the first letter with the cover letter, my thumbprint, seal. This one's 7 pages. This is on riseofthemore.org. Right. This is our signatures, proof that, we're saying this, not Jamal appointing himself to anything. We the people are saying this. Right? So just for the record, I don't appoint myself to crack, because that's not sovereignty. Right? This is what the people say. You want to zoom in on the signatures?
No. Did you sign this? Did you sign
For
this?
the record and the record.
Yeah, exactly. So I sealed the cover letter, I sealed the actual document that we all signed. Excuse my glutes being in the face. Alright, so I wrote both documents for it. This was tailored to her, state of Rhode Island. This is the actual United States, because the Consulate Generals put the United States on notice, right? The actual federal people. And then here's Taj's signature and Philemon's signature. And this is also, so this is on riseofthemore.org. This one's on MorrisAmericanConsulate.org. And that's Taj's signature. This is my commission. I attached it with them to prove that I am a consular, not just saying this on my own accord. This is Taj and Shalemore's signature where they put the actual federal government on notice. So this is state level, federal level. So they can never say, well, we didn't know. The certified mail documents match up with this. And you signed it.
Now, you put your numbers on the document?
My phone number?
No, you.
Oh, yeah, that creates a joiner. Yeah. That's so when they sign this, they're actually signing this.
Oh.
So you can do all of that, have it ready like this, and then go to the post office.
Yeah, that's why we got all the levels. Alright? So now, I guess I'm just showing you how it works in
Right.
real time.
Right.
So that's that, and then proof that I've been commissioned. That I'm not just electing myself to anything. So the people support me, and I've been appointed
Right.
to say what I'm saying to you, right? And then a second letter, because she didn't respond. And then again, certified mail.
Ancient receipt turning down. Keep it in glass in the right humidity to protect it, even ink on it. Everyday light and anything touches anything.
Well, they've been in the folder, it's
Yeah.
just,
No, but I was watching this thing where this dude like.
so again,
loves
they
books so
signed
much.
for it.
Take
Their
the
agent
book,
signed for it.
The ink disappears, yeah.
Like to keep a book from losing.
So this is,
Keep it out there.
I just showed that on the website.
oh, you did?
I took the camera to the website. Show them.
So again, the accuser bears the burden of proof, which we are the accuser, so Gina Raimondo can never say she's not responsible because I put her on notice. Alright, and then also I put William E. Smith on notice too.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and the sheriffs. And the Secretary of State.
And,
Which now we can sue all these people is what I'm telling you.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nellie Gorbea?
That what we did?
That's the Secretary of State, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'll put pictures of these people so we all know.
Familiar.
I need to start my tort claim on Florida.
Alan DeLuz?
Yes, I'm not.
Well, let's do one tort claim at a
Yeah.
time. Alright, let's make sure it works
We can't
first.
do it alone.
I know, because we got more bread out there,
Mhm.
more.
So-
the whole state.
Excuse me, again, if they don't respond, we have to put in a motion, a motion to default. ask for a settlement, but then if they do respond, then we have to schedule, preliminaries if needed. They have the right to discovery, so they have the right to ask us for their notice of existence, which they sign for, and I put that to sign for it, so never say they didn't get it. Right, that's basically what they're gonna ask for. As well as proof that, the Moors were injured, which we got proof that they had you behind bars, don't we? They give us video, didn't they?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So proof that a Fez wearing Moor was within your building and he told you who he was.
Mhm.
This is why I was saying we have to put that document, in their courts to prove this is who we are, right? Then, blah, 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 before trial, the parties develop evidence for trial by methods that include dispositions, written interrogations, requests for production, inspections, and requests for admissions. Motions, parties may file motions regarding discovery and other issues within time limits set out in the scheduling order. Dispositive motions. After the period of discovery, it may appear that the facts of the case are not disputed, and one or more parties may file a motion for summary judgment. The judge will determine whether there are material disputed issues of fact and rule on the motion, which we're strictly arguing issues of law. The fact is, they got the documents. The fact is, they still put their hands on us. So what are we arguing, right? Blah, blah, blah. If such a motion is granted on all claims, no trial is needed, right? And the lawsuit will be resolved by that motion. In some cases, the motion may be decided in part, and only certain issues will remain for trial.
So this is all for the case?
Yes, this is so we get an outline of how things are supposed to happen. So we can hold them accountable when they try to play us, right? Then, final pretrial conference. If it gets to this point. Because right here, at this point, we can get settlement. And even before that, if they default, we can still get a default judgment. Okay, give us 11 billion. Right? Blah, blah, blah. Then final pretrial conference after dispositive motions and prior to trial, the judge conducts a conference with the parties to discuss the issue for trial. The evidence that will be used at trial and the possibility of settlement. Meaning before trial. So again, before it gets to trial, we can have settlement. Which is all administrative remedies, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
That's administrative.
Because they don't have to proceed after that.
Exactly.
They already said, okay,
Exactly.
we wrong, we're admitting it.
Exactly. And before which at that moment, we're calling their bluff.
Mhm.
Do you really want to go to court with us?
Right, because they don't want to do that, because they're going to have to pay on top of that
Yep.
and set everything up.
Yep.
And pay if they lose.
And they're gonna have to deal with all of us. You think they really want to do that?
Yeah, so they might.
We'll see.
Say, okay, yeah, they want to
Because exactly, because every time Moors do this, they do it as an individual or small incompetent group, so they just get dismissed. They
Right.
get dismissed in 1,000 Moors.
And whatever they get it dismissed from is what they're gonna apply for anybody else.
So it's a landmark case for the Moors.
Mhm.
So then, if there's no settlement, if they don't agree to just give us the fiat that they print at will that they know is nothing, which they'd be more inclined to do so, we'll see if they argue us just based on principle, right? Trial. A trial allows the parties to formally present their case in open court. What does that say? That says open court, right? So now we can say, hey, Moors, across the country, we're going to trial. Support us. Now, instead of, doing this BS march on Washington and our people doing waste time, now we're flooding this building. You think they're going to not give us settlement? Right?
Actually asking for something.
In open court, offering testimony and evidence in support of their position. So now, we can say, this isn't just happening in Rhode Island. Look at all these Moors that flew here from across the country.
Yeah.
We can bring them up as witnesses. What are they doing to you over there? What are they doing to you over there? Oh, so do you want a bigger class action suit on your hands? Or do you want to just give us settlement?
Right.
Because if we got all that proved, then we want to just go to Supreme Court. Which affects them either way, so either way we win. Right? And by making oral argument, In many instances, the parties, and with this oral argument, we can stick to the document that we write. That's why they say, let your paperwork precede you. Right? In many instances, the parties have a right to trial by jury.
Who's the jury?
Who's that jury? It's gonna have to be Moors and Europeans. It has to be Moors and Europeans.
Not black people, Moors.
Like Article 3 judges type shit?
Yeah, this is consular court we're talking about. Once we're there, it becomes consular court. It's not just federal court, it's consular court.
And I actually experienced that.
Which part?
They're part of picking the jury. They do allow, so when you go and the trial starts, you literally allowed to approach the bench, approach next to the administrator's bench.
Yeah.
You and the DA and the judge are there, and the,
Who you talking, who?
like when you get a trial by jury.
Yeah, to pick
No,
the
no,
juries.
so when you say you and the judge and the,
So you,
you,
the judge who's overseeing the case.
Well,
It was
who's you?
himself.
Oh, so me, I'm the plaintiff. I'm the person that they're accusing.
So
And
you're the
you're
defendant.
gonna
You're the defendant.
choose the,
So I had
Jury.
a trial. The jury was for me, supposed to be my jury of my peers,
Exactly.
and I got to pick them.
oh, you have to pick, they let you pick them too?
Yeah,
That's what they-
no,
that's-
so they couldn't
I
bring
know.
it, they couldn't, so this is how it goes, and that's why you don't know, cause a lot of Moors just talk.
Yep.
Them niggas never ever been there.
Yep.
That's why I'm making my point of duty to go there, so when I come
Yep.
talk to y'all, I know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So you get called up next to the judge. The DA gotta be there, the prosecutor, cause it's y'all three. Gotta make sure that none of them who come in can't know the prosecutor and all that.
Yep.
And it's so real.
Yeah.
It's my first time, so I didn't know what I was totally entitled to. And the
Mhm.
judge let me acquiesce, because you can
Yes,
acquiesce
of
all
course.
throughout the whole thing.
It's
So
called
when you
waiving your
call up
right
there,
by
you can
omission.
acquiesce in that moment.
Yep.
If you don't utter
Yep.
something and defend, every moment you gotta defend yourself. So
Yep.
when you stand there and they bring in the juries, you literally gotta say, nope, next.
Listen, and you get to question their competency.
Not only that, you get to give them a mini background check right there in front of you.
Yeah, that's questioning their competency.
I learned, that day, I learned 15 people's business that I didn't fucking care or knew. I didn't
Yep.
fucking care about them, and I didn't know about that.
So now listen. As plaintiffs in this case, so it's gonna be us
Mhm,
choosing this jury,
mhm,
Gina Raimondo, and the Attorney General.
yes.
So now all these people that Gina Raimondo trying to get on her side, we can say,
Done.
who's a party to the Treaty of 1786?
Mm-hmm.
If they don't know, bye.
Yeah.
While standing next to the judge, you can do all that.
Yep.
And the judge won't tell you you can do it.
I thought
You have to know
just
you
the two
So
lawyers.
another,
Of attorney, of waiver
Counsel,
of counsel.
counsel.
I said, I'm not side, I read it and I said,
Waiving
in
crap.
big bold letters, they got, something rights. The word rights is in big bold black letters. And once you sign that, that's what you're waiving. Rights. I don't care what any of the other things says on that shit. Their game is to get you to sign, cause in big bold black letters, it says rights.
Yes. And
Oh, da-da-da-da-da-da, rights, da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
And they
And
spell
when you
with
sign
a
it, that's
W.
all you signed off. Your rights, gone.
They spell it with a
and a
W.
waiver of rights
Yeah.
has to be expressed either voluntary or involuntary by omission, like you said, acquiescence, by the person waiving them.
Exactly. And at first, they didn't want to give me my trial until I signed the waiver. So I said, I put the judge on blast. I said, so you're gonna make this piece of paper stop you in here from adjudicating justice to me? Because I'm not signing it. And then she said, oh, second call they did me, and the case still went through, and I didn't sign it. So she had me under the impression that if I didn't sign it, nothing would happen. If I would've took that impression and ran with it, she'd won.
Yep.
But I said, let's see where this is gonna go. I'm not signing it. And she second called, and I stood there and waited, and second call came up, and I signed nothing, and she proceeded.
Yep.
So I was like, so I learned, like, look at that.
To see if you were
Look at
slavery.
the bluff, like,
Yeah.
they be bluffing us out
Check to
hard.
see how strong you be.
And
So,
when she-
let's call their bluff.
when she came with the waiver too, she came thug life gangster like, oh, Mr. Baby, you don't sign this. You don't sign this waiver. I said,
Like
"Oh,
that,
lady,
yeah, shut up.
all of that, they
Yeah, all
come
that
in
stuff.
thug life. So I was like, they bluff, they come serious.
They treat you like that, I'm gonna lock you up, and then you get shit like, I don't wanna be
I was
locked
like,
up, I don't
you
wanna
don't
spend
lock
2
me up,
weeks in
'cause I-
here. Like,
Bro,
I
I
don't
get-
care, do what you
Before I knew this, they used to I used to come out of lockup to get locked up. So you get threatened with nothing, I ain't. Like, bruh, take your time.
I'm scared to
I
sleep
don't
in there
think-
3 days. I did
I
that
already
before,
know the
so
mantra.
you gonna threaten me, I'm gonna lock you up, do what you need to do.
I already know my 2
I'll
week
be in here.
meditation, my mantra, as long as the cell is this by this, I'm good.
You
Take your
stretch.
time. Good in.
What you wanna add?
I was gonna say, that's why it's important for us to all show up and go in a group,
It is.
because when you're picking your jury,
Learning process
that
and all
there's your
that.
jury.
That is true.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's a good question too, so can their jury only be their subjects?
Nah,
So then,
because it has to be an impartial jury. So if it's all Europeans, that's not impartial.
yeah,
They're
but
gonna vote for the pale skinned people.
they talk about, they send these letters out to houses for jury duty, they notify the people. So anyone who shows up for you to
Yeah,
pick
but
from,
listen. If you're a citizen of Rhode Island,
mm,
and some pale skinned person is a citizen of Rhode Island, you're both subject to Rhode Island. So it doesn't matter.
mm,
You know what I'm
So
saying? As long as there's, you know, as long as, like with Rhode Island, as long as the jury consists of competent Moors and competent Europeans of our choosing and their choosing, then it's a fair, impartial jury.
I
But
remember,
I-
Because there's competent Moors on our side that are gonna, not even on our side, just competent
It's
about the treaty,
confident, yeah.
that will be able to, have a fair judgment and be impartial. Have we been injured or not? If you don't know about the treaty, then you can't tell that we've been injured.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we need more that know that, so when it comes time for the jury to, you know, leave the courtroom and talk amongst themselves, there's someone in there arguing that.
So let me ask you something, what happened if they bring in a pool that, their peers don't represent us?
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna
Then,
ask.
that's, like you said, we have the right to challenge their competency.
Yeah.
And like, let's say, you know, they chose the jury without us knowing, so we weren't there to choose, and then we're at trial, we still as pale skinned people, we get objection,
Yeah.
That's
I'm about to challenge, I'm challenging their competency.
And
Then we
that's
ask
what a
them,
lot of us-
do you know about the treaty?
That's the fight we need in us, the ability to just be in the midst of them.
And object
even though
everything.
they're object.
Mhm.
Just even that feeling you got,
It's
you got,
beautiful.
even though
Just
you
to
don't
say
know what's
object.
wrong,
but for this,
You
that
feel
we
it?
gotta study, if you don't study, you don't know what to ask them and.
Yeah. But I mean, like he just brought up, a lot of more, you know, you have the right to choose your jury.
I didn't know.
See,
I
so
knew
now
it.
we're studying.
I knew, like you said, they send letters to your house, so you can.
but you know
Yeah.
what got me curious to find that out? And when you read the thing, it says a jury of your
European.
National,
own
yeah.
national peers. So I said, my own, so that means I
So-
have
so
some sort of
listen,
say in this.
Listen. The Moorish American Consulate is establishing a common law jury. So those are the people we choose from, because they're making them competent.
That's
So we already have everything on our side. We have all the tools, right? All the tools are
But
everywhere.
they're gonna be, well, if they don't live on this state over here, they can't be the jury.
Yeah, you know, with the.
No, yeah, no, yeah, no,
You can choose anybody and
Listen, we don't have any borders.
Right.
The land is connected.
Right.
So if you're on
Okay,
this part of the
okay.
land, you're on that part too. So we can get more.
Because we don't, he didn't create the state.
And they
so
gonna have to,
create the state.
Exactly.
and they gonna have to pay that more to come out there for
Yeah.
the pool.
Yeah. Compensate them.
Yeah.
Oh, you're missing work? How many days?
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah, they.
they're missing this many days.
Yeah,
The Council Levy and a jury pool.
I remember one time they sent me a letter,
Okay.
I didn't pay attention to it.
They sent me a letter.
Oh, they're gonna, they can, jail you, you have to pay a fine. I said, forget it.
They sent that letter to so many people.
Yeah.
I didn't
Only
pay
a
attention
few
to it.
people actually show up, so they just use those people.
Yeah.
It ain't that serious, trust me.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to it, I said, I didn't get it. I said, if they come,
Because,
I
Because how to select a jury pool of your own peers is wherever a crime happened in that jurisdiction is where they actually have to send out.
Yes.
I mean, in Florida anyway, in Florida.
No, hold on, you're right. But when you say Florida and Rhode Island, you talk about those European
That's
jurisdictions.
just fine.
We as Moors have the right to do the same thing.
Okay.
So we can send a letter to Todd Street Bay. Hey, Todd Street Bay, you mind being a jurist on this district court?
Right.
Hey, Cujo Ottawa, you mind being
No,
a
but
jurist?
theirs don't work like that though.
Yeah, but
Theirs
that's,
is just the area the
yeah,
crime
that's
happened.
theirs.
Yeah, that's
That's
theirs.
not gonna do with us.
Yeah.
So I'm
right.
saying,
we
as-
create our
as
own.
us,
We create our own jury.
Exactly.
So we can go anywhere
yeah,
from
from North
Mexico,
America to South
anywhere,
America.
Cali,
Yep.
anywhere.
Nigga,
Okay.
from Greenland all the way to the tip of Brazil.
Okay, we
And
slide
everywhere
it.
Noble Drew Ali claimed in his trust.
Yep.
That's how I'm
Slide it.
thinking. No one
Yep.
not telling
We
you
slide
that.
it.
Yep.
We slide it.
Well, you are right, they, because it's dealing with jurisdiction.
Yeah.
You know what I
Our
realized?
borders is coast to coast, that's our jurisdiction.
In Rhode Island, they just deal with Rhode Island, because
Right.
the state, they send,
Exactly, but that's their colonial state.
yeah.
That's where more get the argument, we're not citizens of that state
Right.
at all. Our nation state is Morocco. Morocco is a country. Country means landmass. Its landmass is all the way from the east coast to the west coast.
That's it.
Any mores in between, we can say come be part of this tribe.
And you wanna know what's crazy? For civil complaints against the people, the corporations, they don't waste, it costs them more money to put out a warrant or something to send you for a civil complaint, cause,
You know why?
why?
Because
Well, yeah,
all the due
because-
process they have to go through.
Yeah,
That's why.
because when they, the policy enforcer pulled me over, he told me that he asked his superiors and they told him just to get my national information thing. After he pulled me over for speeding, a civil letter came to my house. And I went to the court, but I'm like, I'm not just gonna dishonor person, go and bust y'all balls for this other shit and not come and see what the civil thing is that I'm trying to say. When I went, they didn't even care about it. They don't, yo, I'm in here like, bro, you people are something else. Like, I'm in there with the paper they sent to my house, like, yo, guys sent civil notice, what's going on, what room am I supposed to be? They said, let me see that out. Well, you're in the system, they didn't make it in for 12, but we don't really care about that. Like, Jesus, what do you mean? How you don't care? They don't care about the money, they sent it to me. And it's in my pre-national name, no warrant, no nothing.
You know why?
I don't gotta go, so.
Because you said it's in your free national name, right?
Yeah.
That means you're a non-resident.
Yeah.
That means they can't
I don't
identify
have
you.
to go nowhere, that's the thing, I didn't have to go, no
Yeah,
warrant,
he's
no
a
nothing.
product, he's a product with a barcode.
They can't,
So you're the
nothing.
product.
So I'm there sitting there like,
Yeah.
Say that.
the civil, they still follow their procedure. They're still, and that's for their records, and
You
it's
know
fine.
what they said to you? We don't have jurisdiction.
Over you.
That's what that's saying. You have to know that.
And it's pretty much, that was their way of telling me slow down, because I was
Yeah.
actually on my way here.
Yeah. No. We're going to the court.
Tuesday?
No,
Yeah.
no, not that time.
Not that
You were
time?
there.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
time I was on my way here, Florida. Connect there, this guy, the same, it so happened to be the same dude I pulled Zeke from. He had Zeke on the side of the road, it was the same dude, this guy's just, he's looking to fill quota, he out there.
And he wants to be the chief.
He wants to be the chief
He's
sergeant,
chief
he's
of
looking for stripes, so there's this one dude that he's looking for stripes, and I keep running into him. I put this, that's why I never leave it out this book, all this shit's in it, I just pull this out and show it to him. And now he's in low, just, I don't even see him no more. I don't even see this guy no more. I don't even see these people no more. It's weird.
So, back to point. Good side conversation. Great side conversation. Right?
Yeah.
Trial allows the parties to formally present their case, which is where we went over. Then we got over talking about the jury of national appeals, right? Then judgment, which we have the right to trial by jury, which we can invoke that as a plaintiff, trial by jury. Right? So meaning, we don't want this European magistrate to be the sole judge. We want a mixed jury of Moors and Europeans. Right? And chances are, if you're a Moor.
That's the love part.
Exactly. No, that's the love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's all of that. Right? Then, after a verdict, the court enters a judgment on its docket which states the result of the proceedings and clearly identifies the specific relief to which the prevailing parties are entitled. Then notice of appeal. A dissatisfied party may appeal the judgment by filing a notice of appeal with the clerk of the district court. The notice of appeal must be filed within 30 days after the judgment or 60 days if the United States is a party. A party who was permitted to proceed IFP, which is the paupus, the poor person, the prisoner, which we are not, and the district court may proceed IFP on appeal without further authorization, meaning if you're a poor person and they already agreed not to pay because you're poor, that means if you want to appeal, you also don't have to pay for anything because you're poor. Unless the district court certifies that the appeal is not taken in good faith, or finds that the party is not otherwise entitled to proceed and form a pauperous. And that is the flow on how this can go. We talked about our rights, we talked about what we can do. Now all we have to do is create an affidavit that drills all of these points in, that covers 90% of our points. So when it comes, if it gets to trial before, if we don't reach settlement, if it goes to trial, we have something to read from. And then in the meantime, we can still type up more affidavits that we can reference from in open court, in front of a trial by jury of mixed Moors and Europeans. And that's basically it. I know that was long. How long was the video? Well, we've been here for a few hours. But that's what happens when you're in a temple.
You got your, look at the time.
The time is 2:49.
I wanna write up something.
How long will be here?
I don't know what time we got
I
here.
came here around 11 something, so it's about almost 3 o'clock, so.
Yeah, that
It's more than that.
11:30.
Yeah.
And we've been here talking about this. So, how we feel about it now that
That's
we
good though, I'm glad that, I feel good, I feel more confident, more like, you know what I'm saying?
Some of this stuff is still kind of, my head goes,
don't even worry.
As long as we study
So-
it,
yeah.
This
This
is
is codes and stuff, are
just as a follow-up question, since we're still on this. We have to figure out who do we want to be at the plaintiff's stage. Meaning the ones arguing against, you know, the ones actually,
Arguing
In
the
court.
case.
yeah, arguing the case. Who do we want to sit there?
Well, let's run some like, I guess some practice runs.
Also,
And-
who wants to be in
Well,
charge?
you're asking as a whole, you're asking this body as a whole.
Yeah, I'm asking this body, who do we want to
Well,
be
the
up
most
there?
competent,
Yeah,
obviously.
so who we naming?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, let's do a
You
right
would
run.
be number one,
Yeah.
right? I would place myself there. Janae would definitely be Kenneth.
I like to call on Taj Truth Bay.
So who we voting for?
Like to Jerry Bay, I'd like to have her.
Are you talking on the jury or?
No,
Out
as
of the case?
the ones arguing with these Europeans in court.
But the people over here, or you talking about?
Well, I mean, we agreed here, this is kind of this is partly related to the tort claim that I'm talking about with the Morris American Consulate. But Leonidas and I talked about pursuing his claim, kind of like, not as a trial, but just because it's right here, right now.
Yeah.
So,
And as a trial, we can use.
yeah, but I mean, yeah. Because like the Quran says, there's no failure for man while on this plane manifest because we're learning, so we can't fail. So for his tort claim that we're gonna bring to these Europeans, who do we want up there? It doesn't matter how many people we have up there, because that's our right to do that. As long as it's not something ridiculous, we got 20 people up there, that's great. Within reason.
I volunteer.
You volunteer? You said me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said light?
Yeah, I think we can get Taj. Obviously, but
Taj is gonna come
Well,
over,
we
but-
have to ask these people, that doesn't mean they're gonna say yes.
Yeah.
never understood.
What about,
So-
what's her name?
Sharon?
Valerie Bay?
Sharon? Who?
Sharon.
No, you said something else?
Who's Sharon?
She's with us. She's from
Who's the right
Philly.
counselor?
What?
As a counselor.
What's her name? I think her name is Valerie.
Do you have her contact
Queen
information?
Bay?
No.
I think it's a gay
Oh,
name.
you mean, Queen Valera?
Yeah.
No, she's not part of the council.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This is from this body.
Well, I mean, because, you know, we have to ask these people.
Well,
She
Queen
got her own
Valera is.
organization.
I mean, I heard of, mentioning the resident more, the more.
Oh, you can contact her, yeah.
Yeah, if you can contact her,
Contact her.
and ask her.
So, again,
Well, let's present these people with like an actual written
Right.
case,
Yeah.
and say, we want you to help us represent this case.
Cause that's what she, like, that's how I learned about her, like, years ago, like, Morris, like, I was having some thing with traffic, and I ran to her video,
She
and
not
she dropped jewels,
I was gonna say,
like,
There's this guy I.
What about jail be wanting to?
she's not under the, how should I say, the Moorish Consulate.
You know the guy.
Yeah, but they don't have to be. They just gotta be confident, they just gotta be Morris, who Morris say, we want you to.
I sent you guys all the files.
Hmm?
The one I sent you guys information about those files, yeah, the files on online. Forgot his name, because he knows all these codes and stuff, he's been doing on himself. I forgot his name, I can't remember his name.
Seer?
I sent you this,
What
the
about your
files,
boy?
you know the
Seer?
files?
A seer? The Duke of Tears?
No, it's not the series.
Yeah, but no.
The one I sent all the files, that's what,
You're reaching right there, God.
I can't remember.
Cause that man
It's like, it's
he's in Florida, but
Miami.
he started his, he
That's
started
serious.
his.
Yeah, see, it's not theirs. No, it's not one of them.
I'm just saying, he's a famous guy, but I mean,
All these people or busy?
True. Same day like around, I don't know, I'm not
We just
saying.
humans.
Jamal, I gotta go. Do you wanna sign out?
Oh yeah, peace.
Tell them anything about this?
Oh yeah, actually, today, at 7 PM, is gonna be a tort claim call. It's gonna be part of it.
8 p.m.
Go watch a previous video, Tort Team Tuesday, on RisingMore.org. All the information you need to tune in. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern. Peace. Huh?
Peace, peace, peace,
Kenneth L.
peace.
Kenny?
Kenneth L.